Gordon Ramsay's always been a controversial figure. Known for his fiery temper and his use of profanity, the celebrity chef rarely comes off as a charmer. But how much of this is an act? Is he really as bad as his on-screen persona? Today, we're counting down the top 10 worst things that Gordon Ramsay's done off camera. Number 10. Drunk driving and endangering lives. Chef Ramsay was stopped by police after being caught dangerously driving the wrong way down a road in central London whilst under the influence of alcohol. After failing a breathalyzer test, he was booked by the officers and taken to a police station for questioning. But, in an incredible stroke of good luck, the police didn't follow the proper procedure and they declined to offer him a blood test after he was taken into custody. The case was dropped and no court appearances were necessary due to this breach of procedure. But despite hiring expensive lawyers to get him off on a technicality, the fact remains that drunk driving endangers the lives of passers-by and other drivers, not to mention puts his own life at risk. Number 9. The frozen meal scandal. You'd think that a chef who prides himself on his world-class cooking skills with an emphasis on fresh produce would serve guests at his restaurants freshly prepared meals, right? Wrong. Despite charging a small fortune for his meals, in a 2009 undercover sting by the Sun newspaper, his restaurants and pubs were found to be using frozen ready meals made off-site and simply reheated by chefs. What made this even more difficult to swallow was the fact that he was charging markups of up to 600% for the frozen food. When journalists reached out to hear Ramsay's take, a PR spokeswoman defended the practice by claiming that even though the meals were prepared by an outsourcing company and simply reheated by boiling a bag, it was apparently commonplace within the industry and, as a result, should still be considered freshly prepared. But no matter how he tries to spin it, that definitely sounds hypocritical. Number 8. Public indecency. In 1993, 27-year-old Ramsay was charged with public indecency and disturbing London Underground passengers after he and 3 friends were found exposing themselves following a drunken night out. The 3 men were attempting to publicly urinate on the London Underground and were also having difficulties maintaining their balance. Ramsay was found with his head against the wall while one of his friends relieved himself in a sink and the other was found with his pants around his ankles. Police arrived at the scene after the station manager had been alerted to the commotion by disturbed bystanders who were in disbelief. Ramsay and his friends got off with cautions and they played it down to an innocent drunken prank. He claims he doesn't really remember much of the incident anyway. Number 7. The Frank Bruni feud. Ramsay was involved in a long-running bitter feud with the respected New York Times restaurant critic Frank Bruni. The whole thing started after Bruni wrote a tepid 2-star review of Ramsay's first New York City restaurant, the London Hotel, and that made Ramsay furious. The two exchanged barbs in the press for years, with Bruni always attempting to take the higher road. Ramsay, however, fired off insults and harsh remarks every single time he had the chance. In a particularly bitter mention that even remarked on Bruni's sexuality, he stated in the Men's Health interview, "Frank Bruni f***ed me sideways, but the fascinating thing about that, I knew he had the hots for my French maitre d'. I mean, what's Frank Bruni doing now? Tweeting about the government? I pissed myself. I wish him the very best." Number 6. Treatment of critics. Ramsay has a reputation for kicking out critics from his restaurants, including the likes of A.A. Gill and Joan Collins. If a critic shares a negative review about a Ramsay restaurant, they can expect a reaction that goes beyond just being banned from the restaurant. He often goes after them verbally in public too. For example, in an editorial written for the Independent newspaper, Ramsay said about A.A. Gill, "I don't respect him as a food critic and I don't have to stand there and cook for him." Gill wasn't about to let that go without having a last laugh, so he had this to say about Ramsay: "A wonderful chef, just a really second-rate human being." Number 5. Physically assaulting a contestant. Ramsay's known for his passionate, curse-filled outbursts, but it appears he's not just got a sharp tongue, he can get physical too. Whilst recording the US version of his show Hell's Kitchen, his temper landed him in hot water after a conversation with a contestant turned violent. Witnesses recount Ramsay and the contestant having a heated argument on set. After scuffling broke out between the two, the contestant slipped and sprained his ankle when he fell on the floor. The contestant was advised to rest and was taken off the show. And in a private conversation with a friend, Ramsay disclosed, "The guy wound me up and I got angry. He hurt his ankle when he fell. It wasn't intentional. I'm Gordon Ramsay, for goodness sake. People know I'm volatile, but I didn't mean to hurt the guy." Here's the thing, whether it was intentional or not, As a TV celebrity and the host of a show, should he even have been scuffling with the guy in the first place? Number 4. Secretly recording his father-in-law. In 2012, Ramsay attempted to blackmail his father-in-law, Chris Hutchinson, who was also a former business partner, by hiring a private detective. Ramsay suspected that Hutchinson had stolen money from the business, so when things turned ugly between the two of them, he hired a private detective to follow Hutchinson and take private, intimate photos through a bedroom window whilst Hutchinson was having an affair on his wife. The mistress that Hutchinson was seeing, Sarah Stewart, was also at the time engaged to another man, and it just so happened that she was also a former employee of Ramsay too. Understandably, having her privacy violated in this way, she sued Ramsay for breach of privacy and for him attempting to make the pictures public. At one point, Ramsay allegedly sent an SMS message to Mrs. Stewart's son about the pictures, saying, "Please tell your mum to close her curtains. There's a footpath right outside her window. The shots are amazing. Happy to pass the whole f***ing lot to the news of the world. P.S. I've also got a memory stick for your PC if you want to see the most amazing footage." Number 3. Feeding meat to vegetarians. As part of his show, Ramsay was offering free pizza samples outside a struggling Italian restaurant. One of the volunteers who asked for the pizza slice had been a vegetarian for 8 years. Ramsay assured the man that the pizza he was offering was completely meat-free. But after the man ate the pizza, Ramsay revealed that underneath the mozzarella and the tomatoes there was lots of Parma ham. He then openly mocked the upset man and laughed him out of the restaurant while yelling, "Good luck with the Vegemite," and telling people at the restaurant, "We've converted a vegetarian." Ramsay also claimed in a 2003 interview that he'd provided a table of vegetarians with artichoke soup made from chicken stock, whilst telling them that it was actually vegetable stock. Vegetarian and vegan communities were obviously up in arms, calling his behaviour totally outrageous. Number 2. Accusations of racism. Marcus Samuelsson, a Swedish chef of Ethiopian descent, was working as a guest chef at the luxurious Landsborough Hotel in the year 2000. He'd taken part in a TV interview and was asked to name some of his favourite British chefs. Ramsay didn't make the list and he wasn't mentioned amongst Samuelsson's top picks. The next day, Samuelsson picked up a call from an irate Ramsay who didn't take too well to what he saw as being snubbed. He screamed down the line, "How the f*** can you come to my f***ing city and think that you're going to be able to cook without even f***ing referring to me? I'm gonna make sure you have a f***ing miserable time here. This is my city, you hear? Good luck, you f***ing black bastard." Samuelsson took it in stride, calling out the episode, going public, but claiming he would never go out of his way to have a kumbaya moment with Ramsay. He considered it not worth his time. Number 1. Sexism and homophobia. In the late 90s, Ramsay made no secret of his distaste for women working as professional chefs. While he has employed some women, he's made lots of distasteful remarks, including about their menstrual cycles, saying things like, "They only work 3 weeks a month." In 2009, Ramsay went on a particularly hateful tirade against Tracy Grimshaw, a leading Australian journalist, referring to her disparagingly as a lesbian, a term he intended as an insult. He also showed the local audience a picture of a woman with pig features, saying, "That's Grimshaw, holy crap, she needs to see a Botox doctor." Combined with other episodes like possibly cheating on his wife and his often sex-obsessed rants, he's been a frequent target of women's advocacy groups who've called out his ongoing misogyny as archaic and, they state, it's unbecoming of a person whose words have the scope and reach of an international TV superstar. What do you think? Do you agree with AA Gill that Ramsay's a second-rate human being? Leave a comment below. And don't forget guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more similar videos. Thanks for watching.